Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very different video. I am giving you guys a garden tour. This is all that we've collected from the garden. Today it is a bunch of herbs and I wanted to show you how I preserve them to have year-round so that I'm not paying $3-4 at the grocery store for those tiny quantities. So I have here some mint. I have sage. I also have some thyme. And then I have some rosemary. I have two varieties of rosemary. This one which is super long and skinny looking. And then this one which is a bit, the leaves are longer. They're both very tasty. So I have here a silicone container. And you can see that I have already some basil preserved. And then I like to do my preservation for herbs for savory herbs in olive oil. And then for my mint, I like to do it in water. So I just pick all of the leaves, put it in an ice cube tray, and then fill it with water and then freeze it. That way I can still use it in savory dishes, but I can also use it in sweets and juices and things like that. And I love pineapple juice with mint. So all you do is you take some mint, chop a pineapple, put it in the blender, and then blend it all together with some water, and then serve it with some ice. And that's it. And it's incredible. If you have not tried that, please do it and then let me know what you think. So I'm sharing my garden tour video now, so enjoy. Okay, so here on the left we have greenhouse number 1, then we have greenhouse number 2, and then we have a raspberry field, which I'll show you, and a few apple trees, which we planted last year. So let me show you the first greenhouse. Okay, so this is the greenhouse where I planted everything in containers, as you'll see. So we have some tomato plants, more tomato plants, and then a bunch of weeds growing. Nothing in those small ones, and then another tomato, some pepper plants, and then more tomatoes. Now, we always plant herbs with our tomatoes, so here we have thyme, we have some sage, rosemary, and we have more sage over here, more rosemary, some basil, more rosemary over there with our pepper, and then a little bit more basil. And then over there we have some parsley. But that didn't grow very well. And our tomatoes, as you can see, like this one, have grown very tall, but not a lot of fruit. So if you have any advice on that one, please let me know. I'm thinking that for next year, I'm going to put paper all over or tarp and then grow things like brassicas over here in ground. I'm not going to do any container gardening anymore just because it is not as easy as in-ground planting. Now over here I planted 2 elderberry bushes. One is over here and the other is over there. They're still small. All of this is gonna go because it's just weeds and it's not really useful. Now here is greenhouse number 2. And we have some zucchini. We have 2 plants, one yellow and one green. I've tried doing peas over here and over here as well. Didn't go too well because it's hard to collect the peas once they grow inside of that trellis system. Here I tried growing beets, but as you can see, just weeds grew. And in this greenhouse, I put paper down, so it's a lot more manageable. Over on this side, we had a lot of broccoli plants that I've already harvested, so we don't have that many. Here we have some beans, green beans, but they're purple. Over here we have things like kale and collards, and I've tried growing 2 eggplants, but they didn't grow very well. I'm not sure why. If you have any tips to growing eggplant, let me know. And now this is the most exciting part. All of this that you're seeing here is one tomato plant. So this one tomato grew absolutely wild and it's everywhere. And there is a bunch of tomatoes. Now that's a different variety of tomato, and that's one plant as well. But look how many flowers and then also little tomatoes that we have absolutely everywhere on this plant. So I'm thinking here is where I'm going to grow most of our tomatoes, and probably all of the brassicas would do just fine on the other greenhouse. Then over there we had some cucumber plants. They already gave me like 5 cucumbers each. So I think we have one more growing under there. And that's about it. And then here we have some Brussels sprouts. I'm thinking Brussels sprouts will move outside as well. No need to be inside the greenhouse. Like those two didn't do well at all. There's almost no Brussels sprout. And that's it for our 2 greenhouses. So if you have ideas or suggestions for these spaces, please let me know. It seems that this one is way more productive than the other one, probably because of the location, but I'm not too sure. And now over there is our raspberry field. So here used to be another growing area, but we haven't done any work to get this area prepped and ready. So maybe next year we'll do some in-ground planting here as well. But for ease of convenience, we just decided not to do anything this year. Here is our raspberry patch. We have 2 rows and 1 million raspberries. We've been collecting raspberries every day for the past month and a half, and we have 4 bags full in the freezer already. I can show you from this angle. There's our house. This is our lovely dog. Over here used to be a raspberry bed, but as you can see, the weeds have taken over, so we need to redo this whole area. And I'm thinking over here is where we get the most sun, so I'm thinking of putting some more fruit trees. And over on this side, all of these are just non-edible bushes, so I'm thinking of removing some of that and then maybe putting some blueberry bushes. Okay, so let's go over our apple trees. We've planted them last year. Here's one of them. They were both attacked by animals on their first year, so they're still recovering. There's 2 apples over there, plus some more over here. Look at this one, so cute. And this is a Hardy Mac apple. Now over here we have our Honeycrisp tree, and there's still a few apples. Tried to leave not as many so that the tree could just focus on getting bigger, but hopefully we'll get at least 3 or 4 apples from this tree this year. And then over here we have our rhubarb patch that came with the house. And this is a crab apple tree, but they taste so bad that I almost want to take it out and then plant another fruit tree here instead, because what a waste of space. Let me know what you would do with this one. Now this is the front of our house, so we did this patch of wild flowers, and it's already the end of their life, but it's still looking really pretty. And there are some sunflowers coming up, which I'm so happy about. So this is this. And then over here, I tried doing some more container gardening. So this is collard greens. We have some broccoli. Here we have some lemon balm, some lemongrass. And then here's where I did all of my lettuce, but again, they're not doing very well anymore because it's the middle of summer, towards the end. And then here I did some carrots, but I've collected a bunch already. And then, so here we have some chives, and then my mint is over here. And this is all weeds. More weeds, more weeds. Weeds growing everywhere. But yeah, that is our garden. Okay, now that you've seen my garden, I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, it is a work in progress. We have so much work to do if we actually want to grow more food than we're currently growing. Because right now we do get like some zucchini, some cucumbers, some tomatoes, a lot of herbs, some lettuce, a lot of raspberries. As you've seen, we have so many, but we don't get that many tomatoes to like actually make tomato sauce for an entire year or things like that. So we're trying to get there. We're trying to expand the area that we're growing because we did buy this house because it had such a big garden space. We have about almost 3 acres of land. A lot of it is like forest, so lots of trees and shrubs and not usable land, but we have all that space that you've seen to put some fruit trees and then grow a garden, like a substantial garden. But it takes so much work and it's so expensive to start from scratch that it's gonna take us a couple of years probably. I've been adding like fruit trees and elderberry bushes here and there, but it's very expensive to buy that new. So we'll get there, but it's gonna take a while. So if you have any suggestions on things that we should do, could do, what we should grow, I think we're in zone 3B. So not a lot grows over here if it's not inside a greenhouse, and our growing season is very short. So I'm trying to maximize the things that, one, are more expensive to buy organic, and then two, that will grow well and we actually enjoy eating, because there's no point in me growing, I don't know, 50 heads of cabbage if I eat cabbage once a year. So I'm just trying to get a sense of what we actually like eating and growing before we commit to something. Yes, and then with our raspberries, I plan to make a whole video on how I preserve my raspberries in a way that's not jam, because I personally don't eat that much jam. I do eat the occasional peanut butter and jam toast, but I do like it. Don't get me wrong, like it's so delicious. And in fact, when I was pregnant, it was one of my favorite foods, peanut butter and strawberry jam. Not grape jam, not grape jelly, not raspberry jam, strawberry jam. So it would be good to have some of that in my pantry or freezer. But I don't eat a lot of jam, so I don't like preserving my raspberries as jam. I basically just freeze them all whole, and then I make things like cakes, cookies, scones, things that use them up. But my favorite way of making that is actually making like a raspberry sauce, and that can go on anything. Oatmeal, on top of cakes, muffins, what else? Ice cream. Ice cream is a good one. Like literally anything, you can put a little bit of that and it gives a bit of a sour taste, which contrasts so well with the sweets. But yeah, I'll put a picture here of a raspberry pistachio cake that I made. That was very delicious. Okay, so this has been sitting for a while, so let's preserve some of these herbs in here. Let's wash them first. We're gonna start with the sage and then the rosemary because they're easier to preserve. So I'm just gonna take all of the leaves and then put them all inside this cube. And you might be thinking, okay, but what do you actually use these herbs in the middle of winter? And basically any marinade that I'm making for meat, chicken, pork, even beef, I like using a lot of herbs, especially in the slow cooker because it gives it a bit more flavor. And then, yeah, pasta. So you can do a butter sage pasta that tastes so incredible. So you can use sage for that. And the more you fill it with herbs, the less olive oil you have to use. So that's the goal. I accidentally chopped like a woody stem off of my rosemary, but that's okay because it would die in the winter anyway. I would have to bring it inside for it not to die. So you get the idea. You fill these with herbs and then you top it with olive oil. These other stems that are not as woody, I'm just bending them and then packing them into one of these cubes so that I can use them in marinades as well. Same thing for this thyme. I'm just gonna separate them a little bit and then try to pack them into the remaining cubes that I have here. Okay, let me show you before we add some olive oil. Okay, so now we're gonna add some olive oil, and here use the olive oil that you actually like using when you're cooking, and we're using quite a bit. So now we take our lid. Now this is going back in the freezer. Let me show you the mint. So this is the silicone ice cube tray, and you can see here my mint with water, and here's just some orange juice that I froze. Because sometimes I do like an orange chicken and I need some orange juice. Okay, let me wash our mint. Okay, so for the mint, same thing. You remove the leaves and then you add them to your ice cube mold. As many as will fit in a space. And for mint, you can always leave like 1 or 2 leaves at the top and then propagate the stem. Just put it in water. It might take like a month or 2, but you should have a new mint plant that you can use. I'm also thinking of choosing like an area in my house that I'll try growing wild mint. I really want to have like a lot of mint. Like you've seen it in my video. I don't have that much and it doesn't grow very well in that container. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I'm gonna try growing it wild. So then you just grab some water and then you top that with water. And there you have it. Super easy. Didn't take us long at all. And that way, when you have so many herbs ready and you don't know what to do with all of them because they're in your garden, they've grown wild, you can just preserve it this way. And then you have it throughout the winter as well. So let's pop this in the freezer. This was the raspberry sauce that I mentioned. I am making a vanilla cake with a raspberry sauce on top and then a coconut frosting. And I hope it turns out to be delicious. So I made this morning with freshly picked raspberries because I didn't want to use the ones in my freezer. And let me know if you'd like to have some of these recipes as well in my channel just for inspiration, or if you don't. That's fine too. I love making sweets way more than I like cooking snacks and savory foods, but I just have to cook savory foods and snacks, otherwise we won't survive on just sweets. It's so tart, but it's so delicious. Okay, that was it for today's video. I know it was a short one, but I really wanted to just share how I do things around here and how I preserve my herbs so I have it all year round. And I thought it would give you some inspiration to grow some herbs if you're not growing them yet, because they're super easy to grow, no maintenance. They actually deter pests and things like that. So it's almost never the case that you'll have like animals or wildlife eating your herbs. So it's one of the few things that it's almost no work to grow. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate if you gave me a like or consider subscribing to my channel. I'm still experimenting, like I always say, with the things that I film and bring to you guys. So I appreciate you watching till the end. Thank you as always. Bye.